In a quiet little town resting gently at the edge of rolling hills, there stood a small bakery that seemed almost timeless. Every morning, before the sun painted the sky with gold, the streets around it filled with the comforting scent of freshly baked bread. The aroma drifted through narrow alleys and sleepy homes, wrapping the town in warmth long before people opened their doors. The bakery belonged to an old man named Mr. Eli, whose kind eyes carried the calm wisdom of someone who had lived not just many years, but many meaningful ones. Flour was always dusted across his apron, and a peaceful smile rarely left his face as he worked beside the glowing oven that had become the heart of the community. Mr. Eli followed the same routine each day. He rose before dawn, lit the oven, and began kneading dough with slow and careful movements, humming soft melodies that echoed quietly through the empty shop. As his hands shaped each loaf, he often whispered a simple wish, hoping that the bread he baked would bring comfort or joy to someone who needed it. To him, baking was never merely business. It was a conversation between effort and kindness. By midday, hundreds of loaves would rest neatly on wooden shelves. Some were sold to customers, some delivered to neighbors, and a special few were smaller, round loaves he lovingly called smile loaves, prepared especially for children and anyone facing hardship. Milo, his young assistant, struggled to understand this habit. Practical and ambitious, Milo believed the bakery could earn far more if every loaf were sold instead of given away. Many afternoons, while counting coins behind the counter, he would shake his head and remind Mr. Eli that generosity did not pay bills. He worried about rising costs and uncertain seasons, insisting that kindness alone could not sustain a business. Mr. Eli listened patiently each time, never offended, never defensive. He would simply smile and explain that bread filled empty stomachs, but kindness nourished something far deeper within people. Profit, he believed, was temporary, while purpose lasted far longer than any ledger could measure. As winter approached that year, the town faced one of the harshest seasons anyone could remember. Freezing winds swept through the streets, and snow-buried doorways beneath heavy silence. Work became scarce, and many families struggled to find enough food to last the week, while other shops shortened their hours to conserve supplies. Mr. Eli kept his oven burning from morning until late night. People knocked softly on his door, embarrassed by need, and each time he welcomed them inside without hesitation. He handed out warm bread, wrapped carefully in cloth, reminding them that no one should face cold or hunger alone. The bakery became more than a store. It became refuge. Soon, the sacks of flour grew lighter. Milo watched anxiously as their supplies dwindled day after day. Fear replaced his earlier frustration, and he begged Mr. Eli to slow down before nothing remained. Yet the old baker only glanced toward the oven, its fire glowing steadily despite the storm outside. He said that if there was enough dough for one loaf, then there was enough to share half. To him, generosity was not measured by abundance, but by willingness. The warmth of the oven, he believed, grew stronger each time it was used to help another person survive another difficult night. One evening, after the town had fallen silent beneath falling snow, Mr. Eli remained alone in the bakery. The windows fogged gently as the oven continued to glow, casting golden light across wooden tables worn smooth by decades of work. He moved slowly, shaping dough with careful hands that carried both age and devotion. Outside, the wind howled fiercely, but inside there was peace. Baking had always been his language of love, and even as exhaustion settled into his bones, he continued working, determined that someone, somewhere, would wake to warmth the next morning. When Milo arrived at sunrise the following day, something felt different. The familiar humming was gone, replaced by stillness. The oven's fire had faded to quiet embers, and the bakery stood unusually silent. Near the warmth of the oven sat Mr. Eli, resting peacefully in his chair, his flour-dusted hands folded gently in his lap. A faint smile remained on his face, as though he had simply fallen asleep after completing another long day of service. On the table beside him lay one final loaf of bread and a handwritten note trembling with age. The message read that happiness, like bread, rises when shared, and that a heart stops growing warm the moment giving ends. News of his passing spread quickly through the town. People gathered outside the bakery, many holding memories instead of words. Parents remembered meals that had carried them through difficult winters. Children recalled surprise smile loaves placed into small hands, and elderly neighbors spoke of kindness offered without expectation. The town realized they had lost more than a baker. They had lost a quiet source of daily compassion. Milo stood among them, clutching the note with shaking fingers, finally understanding what Mr. Eli had tried to teach all along. Wealth could disappear, but generosity left echoes that endured across generations. Determined to honor his mentor, Milo reopened the bakery the very next morning. Though grief lingered heavily, he lit the oven just as Mr. Eli once had and began kneading dough before sunrise. At first, his movements felt uncertain, but gradually he remembered the rhythm he had watched for years. When customers arrived, they noticed something familiar waiting in the window. Small, round smile loaves marked with tiny hearts. Milo gave some away quietly, just as Mr. Eli had done, discovering that generosity no longer felt like loss, but fulfillment. The bakery lived again, not through walls or recipes, but through the continuation of kindness. Years passed, seasons changed, and the town continued to grow. Yet the bakery remained standing at the same corner where warmth first spread through shared bread. A new sign hung above the entrance, reading, "Eli's Bread, happiness rises when shared." Travelers often asked where they could find the best bread in town, and locals would smile knowingly before pointing toward the glowing windows. They explained that the secret ingredient had never been flour or skill, but the belief that giving multiplied joy rather than diminished it. And so the oven never truly went cold, because every loaf carried forward a lesson, simple enough for anyone to understand, yet powerful enough to transform a life forever. Kindness shared daily becomes light guiding hearts through even darkest winters. Thank you for watching English Life Tales. Remember, happiness, like bread, rises higher when it's shared.